Peace and Yah bless. Yah is a strong one. Strong one is Yah. He's the tree of life. He's the fountain of living waters. He's the spirit and creator of all things that live and breathe. Greetings, entire world, global citizens. We are living in some of the most interesting and probably tumultuous times probably ever recorded on Earth, as far as the events that are taking place on Earth, and as far as the actual velocity or speed in which they are actually happening. Now we know by the book of Isaiah that the Most High said that he would speed these events up. Isaiah chapter 60 to be exact. The last verse. He said he would speed up time. He would speed up time in order to recover the children of Israel back to our original homeland in Jerusalem. Okay? In Israel, what they call the state of Israel today. All right? So he would speed the events up. And man, has he sped them up. Because here we are in May of 2020. And many probably thought, number one, that I wouldn't make it this far. But the house of David has made it. Even though we have many enemies and many people who help our enemies, it doesn't matter. Yah is with us, and we're still standing. And that's why I'm able to bring this video to you today. Alrighty? Israelites released. Those are probably some very infamous words to many people. The Israelites released. Okay? Because we have to be released. We must return to our original habitation. Period. Okay? Now, we know by the book of Ezekiel chapter 16 that some of us have returned back, dealing with the movements of Damona, and they're in Damona, and they've been there 51 years, but they're going on 52 years. Sometime this month, when they celebrate their New World Passover. The other movement, Samaria and her daughters, they return back between 92, 93, 94, somewhere in that area. They've been there a great long time. Well, the final phase is the Jerusalem movement. Okay? Now, it doesn't necessarily have to have a logo or anything like that. It's not just one particular, entity, all right? Because there's people who are inhabitants of Jerusalem probably in many places. Yah is going to assemble us, and he's going to bring us all back to the land, especially the house of David and the Levites. Especially those two factions, because that's the government arm and the Levites run the temple. And that's our general job when we get back to the land. But the Israelites released. We await this to happen. And we know that there's not anything that is too hard for Yah, the Holy One of Israel, to do. As he's told us in Isaiah 55. Nothing too hard for him to do. And once his word goes out of his mouth, it does not come back to him void. All right? So we're awaiting our release. The 400 years has expired in 2019. So now the process. Remember, the Exodus is a process because there's people all over the world, okay? It can't be exactly like the Exodus that you read in the book of Exodus, right, of Moses. Because remember, they just walked, from out of Egypt, out of bondage, went through all that they went through the 40 years. And, Moses dies, and then they come into the land with Joshua. Okay? Even though they ran into a bunch of different things getting there. The key is that they finally got there with Joshua at the leadership. Okay? So that's no different from today. We're just repeating that process again. We have mighty Joshua right? Who is the persona, okay, of David, okay? Get that understanding, you'll understand the book of Zechariah. Because if you don't get that understanding first, you're going to get to the book of Zechariah, chapter 3, is going to make you stumble. Because many people are looking for this, there to be a high priest, okay? And it's not going to be just one high priest I'm talking about as far as inside of the temple, okay? The sons of Zadok who come out of the Aaronic line will all do the same exact job, okay? No differently than what you guys saw dealing with Aaron back in the Exodus, okay? When Aaron had before his sons got killed, by the Most High for them doing what they did with those fire pans, if you know the story, okay? Remember, all of them were doing the same exact job. So it's going to go back to that same way. They'll be the sons of Zadok, as it reads in the book of Ezekiel, okay? For all who understand, have understanding, they'll all do the same job, okay? But the actual overall high priest or priest will be David himself, okay? All right, as you read in the book of Psalms, right? Psalms 110, all right? And as you read in the book of Zechariah, chapter 6, that the seed of David is, right? One of his sons of David is a priest, but he's also the king or the governor, the prince of Israel, okay? The overall head, all right? That's the way Yah designed it, okay? Because he has priestly duties, because he manages the temple and all the priests, but he also has governmental duties. So he has two crowns. He's a dual crown prince, okay? It's two crowns. Not only that, he also wears the two crowns of the southern tribes of Judah and the northern tribes, right? Of Ephraim and Manasseh. Okay, because that represents the north, right? Whenever we had the schism, with King Solomon. All right? But those two crowns emerged, and the crowns emerged of priest and king. So he basically is the overall high priest and king of Israel and manages all those systems. And then underneath him, there's levels of management that we've already discussed before, okay? So that's that. So where are we today? We are in a tumultuous time. The Chinese and the United States, they are on a collision course. And it's a collision course that at this particular point cannot be stopped. Because, I have many people targeting me, but at the end of the day, it's not me that's going to stop, what's going to happen between the Chinese and the United States. The Chinese and the United States are both jockeying for a position on who's going to be at the top of the globe as far as they're concerned, as far as they see it, right? Okay, dealing with GDP, global positioning, and really Jerusalem is involved in that in a lot of ways, right? Because the United States, basically connects themselves to Jerusalem, in that kind of a way, in that kind of a relationship at this particular time. So what you have is Clash of the Titans, okay? Clash of the Titans, okay? Now, I'm not going to include the Russians because the Russians are a Titan too, okay? They are a mighty force. The Iranians are a Titan. They are a mighty force, okay? Those are the mightiest nations on this earth right now. The United States, China, Russia, and Iran, okay? Even though there are other nuclear powers like, Pakistan and India, the UK, et cetera, et cetera. But the mightiest of those nations right now is United States, China, Russia, and Iran. Very, 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 very mighty titans. And they're clashing. And they're clashing real bad because the Chinese want to take the lead over the United States. Okay? And have the United States as their vassal. For all those who know what a vassal country is. They want to make the United States a vassal country underneath them. And they're at the top of the world, running everything from more, it would not be democratic, it would be definitely more communist, because China is a communist nation, along with the Russians, et cetera, et cetera. That's why they're homeboys, right? Chinese and the Russians. Their governments are basically the same. Okay? Ran the same way. Now, there's a lot going on with these two right here. But there are also battles beneath that, where you have the clash of the lodges, the secret societies. There's also little clashes and, I'm going to say silent things going on with them that many people don't really know about. Okay? Naturally, you have, Yorkish Rite, Scottish Rite. You're dealing with the secret society and the lodges. But you also have what's called the White Dragons of China, or the White Lotus, they call it. All right? And they're kind of into it with the top of the triangle, and have been into it with the top of the triangle for a while now. So I've heard. I'm talking about really into it. So this right here, these white dragons, that leads all the way back over to this side right here. Okay? So when I say Clash of the Titans, I mean it's just that. Clash of the Titans. Clash of the lodges. Okay? Donald Trump he's kind of intertwined in between all that clash. He's trying to balance the whole thing out. You know what I mean? So people give him a hard time, but they really shouldn't, because he's just trying to balance the whole thing out of all of these clashes that they kind of threw him, into, was I'm sure he didn't know he was going to get thrown into, when he was sworn in as president. He's probably like, well, I didn't sign up for all of this to happen, and try to, make sense and, try to, bring about peace, from it all. But I think now he's seeing that the Chinese are not about no peace. The Chinese are about world dominance and nothing else but that. That's why the Chinese are in Africa. Okay, that's, because you take the African continent, you basically got at least 2/3 of the world. Okay, once you take the African continent, because the United States is in Africa, but they don't have as much stake in it as the Chinese do. So that's another battleground. So what are they battling over? Global position, gross domestic product, or GDP, or PP, okay? Purchase power parity, or PPP as they call it, Jerusalem, okay? Now let's connect Jerusalem to the whole thing. That's what this whole thing with the House of David was all about, that I explained to you guys on an earlier video. Because see, the Chinese wanted to knock out the House of David through secret means. We heard about it. I heard about it personally. Okay, through these very chips. Knock out the entire House of David. I'm talking about the whole family. Knock them all out through secret means. Okay? And then put themselves in Jerusalem at the top of the world. Okay? I'm talking about of religious matters, if you want to call it that. Because if they were at the top of Jerusalem, they would remove all religious matters, period, and start with the robots, worship of robots and all that robotics, technology. Because indicatively, that's what the Chinese are really all about. Just go look at what they're doing. I'm not saying they're doing all the evil. There are other evil people along with the Chinese, okay, who have bought into their dream. Bought into their philosophy, bought into their theology and sociology. Okay? Bought into their theme, what they want to do with the world, and how they see where it should go. I see a lot of things on the internet, and every time I look on the internet, they've got, if you see flags, they got the Chinese flag above the United States. If you see shipping containers, they got the Chinese shipping containers sitting on top of the United States shipping container. And I don't know who's putting these things up. I'm sure they're just trying to provoke the president or provoke the, United States, period. But whoever's doing it, the Chinese, based on gross domestic product, are not above the United States yet. Could they get there by 2030? They could. Will they get there? I don't think so. Because I know what's written in this book of remembrance right here. Okay? So, let's go to the Zionists. Now, you have a silent war that's been going on for many, many years. I'm talking about all the way back to the Romanovs, the Russian dynasty of the Romanovs. The Zionists have wanted to knock out all autocracy. I'm talking about all monarchs. That's been their plan since way back. They always wanted to do that. All you got to do is go read the protocols of the learned elders of Zion. Victor Marsden, best version to read. And it tells you about their plan. I'm talking about the Zionist Jews. Okay? Now I'm not saying everybody in the land of Israel is bad. But those who are in that Zionist sort of theology that comes from Theodore Herzl, a lot of them, this is the only thing they care about. And they're highly racist. Okay? Highly. Even though they shouldn't be, because they come out of the same father and mother as I do. So I don't even know where they get that at. But anyway. But the Zionists versus the top of the triangle. Now, sometimes you'll see the Zionists go, over to Britain, the UK, have meetings or whatever. It's all Front Street. Okay? But in the elite houses of Windsor and Rothschilds, they know that. Okay? They know it's all Front Street. When they come over there and act like, they have respect for the elite. It's not true. The Zionists want to knock out all elite. Go to the top of the world, and they want to rule the world the way they see fit. Okay? So that old song from Tears for Fears is a good song. Everybody wants to rule the world. I'm just showing you how all this stuff ties in together. I mean, it's a mighty thing going on this earth, the way Yah has this thing constructed. I mean, it's mighty. So let's scroll all the way to today. All these different battles of the lodges and between the Chinese United States and Russia and Iran, and battling for global position and gross domestic product, and battling over Jerusalem. Okay? Isaiah 27 is now coming into effect. Okay? As far as we can see, as far as I've heard from the God of Israel himself, the mighty elite, they sided with God. They're like, yo, we siding with God, man. Okay? Because they know now. They're like, hey, the Holy One of Israel exists. Because if not, C.D. David would not still be on this earth right now. So we know that the God of Israel exists. And the God of Israel is their greatest fear. Even though it doesn't seem like it. Believe me, the houses of Windsor and the houses of Rothschilds, they respect God. Okay? They do respect God. They always have. Okay? And they always will. For those, left after them. All right? When they, leave the earth one of these days. Okay? But they have sided with God of Israel. They side with the royal house of David and the Jerusalem movement. Because they side with the God of Israel. See, they can't just side with the God of Israel and not side with the royal house of David and the Jerusalem movement. Okay? When they sided with God, as it said they would do, they would make peace with Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh in Hebrew, YHWH in English. The God of Israel and the only God, and there is no other God, okay? There is no other name for God, period. All right? It's just the YHWH. It doesn't take a whole lot of research to figure that out. But they side with the royal house of David and the Jerusalem movement. Okay? But a clash of the titans. That's what's going on this earth right now. Clash of the lodges. It's all silent wars, but it's going on. Because Donald Trump is only on one side of this. You can only be pledged Scottish right or you pledge Yorkish right. Okay? You can't be both. You have to be on one side or the other. But it's definitely there. And every one of these countries is ran through a lodge, through secret societies. Chinese, everybody. That's what I mean when I say clash of the lodges. Because this clash right here leads to this clash right here. Rothschilds, Houses of Windsor, etc., which leads down to this right here. Okay? Now the elite, or the grand patron of the lodge, he resides over all of this, right? Top of the triangle, right? Rothschilds. All right? But it certainly is a silent war. Because the Zionists, really in their heart, they want to knock out top of the triangle and knock out the Houses of Windsor and any other autocracy. That's been their dream, to run the whole entire world. That's what, they call the fanatical German leader, of Adolf Hitler was trying to actually stop from happening. Okay, even though he did evil things himself, even though he had the same plot as the Chinese. He wanted to raise a whole entire army or a nation of Aryan people, blonde hair and blue eyes, even though his eyes was brown. His hair was brown. Kind of didn't make any sense, right? But he wanted to do the same thing they were doing, or they're trying to do, because they're trying to do basically the same thing. So for me, the new Nazis, China. We're just repeating that cycle. And what do these new Nazis want to do? Put very chips in everybody. Barcode, the same way they did Esau, the Jews in Germany. Barcode you. Okay? Very deep. It's deep. I know. Deep information I'm giving you guys today. So who falls? Who falls? Because the fifth kingdom has to come on this earth. So who is going to fall and who is going to rise? Well, let's find out. Edom is next to fall. Okay, we know that but right here in Jeremiah chapter 49, right? The Most High tells you what? Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the swelling of the Jordan against the habitation of the strong. Talking about the Zionists. But the Most High said he's going to do what to the Zionists? But I will suddenly make him run away from her. And that her is talking about what? Israel, the land of Israel. Then the Most High asked a question. And who was a chosen man that I may appoint over her? Who is like me? And who will appoint me the time? And who is that shepherd that will stand before me? Okay? So you're going to knock out Edom. That's why they don't like hearing these kind of things. They don't dig me talk about these things on video, but I have to speak. Okay? Verse 20. Therefore hear the counsel of Yah, that he have taken against Edom, the Zionist Jews, right? And his purpose is that he has purpose against the inhabitants of Teman. That's one of the cities, back in Edom back in the day, right? Surely the least of the flocks will draw them out. So there's somebody, I don't know if that's the Palestinians or who that is, but surely the least of the flock is going to draw them out. Okay? Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Okay? The earth is moved at the noise of their fall. So they fall first, or next, put it that way. At the cry of the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. Okay? So it's going to be heard everywhere when this happens, when this takes place, when Yah decides to suddenly make them run away from the land of Israel because it never belonged to them. Now they have their land over there near Israel, but Jerusalem never belonged to Edom. Biggest lie ever told. Okay? You can read that, I believe, in Micah, the very first chapter. When they talk about their plan, how they constructed this plan to come in and take over the land of Israel. Okay, I may go there before I leave. Through the Balfour Declaration, which is why World War I was staged, and especially World War II. That's what gave the land to the Zionists. Because when that war was over, what was the first thing that came out of it? Well, we need a Jewish homeland. Okay, we need a Jewish homeland, right? Okay, that's what came out of World War II when it was over. And why it was staged. Okay? Verse 22. Behold, he shall come up and fly as an eagle and spread his wings over Basra, right? And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in her pangs. You know, they're going to be very, very afraid. That's what it's talking about. And they're afraid now. You read that over in Isaiah. Okay? That it's a vexation for them to hear the report. And they're probably listening to this video right now while I'm making it. All right, who else falls? The Assad regime, Syria. They fall one day. That's right here. Okay, concerning Damascus. Okay? All right. Matter of fact, I'll read a little bit of 24. Damascus is waxed feeble and turneth herself to flee, and fear hath seized on her. Anguish and sorrows have taken her as a woman in travail. How is the city of praise not left, the city of my joy? Okay? All right. Therefore, her young men shall fall in the streets, and all the men of war be cut off in that day, saith the God of hosts. Okay? I'll read 27. And I will kindle a fire in the wall of Damascus, and it shall consume the palace of Ben-Hadad. So it tells you right there. And that's just one place. It's also in the book of Isaiah, where it talks about that's going to happen. Okay? The Moabites, for whoever they are, I'm not sure which faction, but I believe definitely the Chinese, could be Chinese and North Korea. They also got to fall. Okay? And we know that by simply reading Jeremiah 48. Talks about that. Okay? Therefore mine heart shall sound for Moab like pipes, and mine heart shall sound like pipes for the men of Kirheres, right? Because the riches that he have gotten are perished. You hear that? So who's got a lot of riches right now? Some of those nations do, but China has the most. Okay? But their riches that they got, they're going to perish, man. Okay? 38. There should be lamentation. Lamentation means crying. There should be lamentation generally upon all the housetops of Moab and in the streets thereof. For I have broken Moab like a vessel wherein there is no pleasure, saith Yah. Yah did it and was going to do it. Okay? All right. Verse 42. And Moab shall be destroyed from being a people, because he have magnified himself against Yah. Woo! Goodness. 42 ain't no joke. For he have done what? He have magnified himself against God. In other words, the Chinese think their God and their technology is God. And everything, their riches is God. And they want to take over the whole earth for that purpose. That's why they want to take Jerusalem. That's why they try to come and knock out the house of David first thing. Because they knew, well, we knock out the house of David, then the rest is easy. Okay? Zionists had that same thing in their heart. And I'm sure many people do. Okay? But generally the Moabites. Okay? The Most High gonna deal with them. Now, whether it's through the United States, I'm sure it's gonna be. Whenever it happens, it happens. Or however it goes down, it goes down. But Moab shall be destroyed from being a people, because he magnified himself against God. By doing what? Number one, targeting the house of David. Me. Okay? And my people. Number two, all the things that he's doing throughout this earth. Okay? Enslaving some of these people in loans that they know they cannot pay back. I'm talking about the Africans. But the Africans and my Hamitic brothers, they waking up now. Okay? They finally waking up. Okay? The borrower is a servant of the lender. If they just read this book and put down them Qurans and all that, New Testaments and all that, just read this book of remembrance, Genesis to Malachi. But they're going to fall, man, because they magnify themselves against God. You don't hear the Moabites talking about no God over there. All they know, robots, technology, money. That's it. All right? But they're going to get dealt with by God, Yah, the Holy One of Israel, one day. Now, if it's the United States, then it's the United States. Elam is another one. Elam is generally India, Pakistan, somewhere in that region. Okay? Same thing with them. The Most High going to deal with them too. Okay? All right? So a lot of prophecy, okay, that's going to happen coming up in the near future. Okay? The Most High said he's going to do what to Elam? 35 right here. Thus saith Yah of hosts, behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the chief of their might. Okay? All right? Because they're a nuclear power over there, Pakistan, India, whichever one it is, the Most High going to break them too. So all these big, gigantic world powers, the Most High going to break all of them, man. He's going to break them. Each one, he's going to break them as we get ready for this fifth kingdom to rise. So what rises? What rises in the place of all these people right here? And a few more other than that, okay? The holy kingdom of God on earth, Yah. That's what rises, the fifth kingdom. And the royal house of David and the 12 tribes of Israel, the real true people, black Americans and so forth. Okay, I'm going to talk about them on my next video. Who was what? Okay, as far as what we see today. And those remaining of the Jewish people, okay, who call themselves Jewish, right? Esau, right? Edom. The Jewish women, they're going to side with Yah. That's chapter 49, right, of Jeremiah. And naturally, the Jewish men are going to follow the Jewish women. So everybody going to say, they're like, yo, we're going to side with Yah. For those remaining, we're going to side with Yah. That's what they're going to do, especially after they see their counterparts get judged in the land. They're going to side with Yah, God, okay? Meaning what? They're going to side with the royal house of David and the 12 tribes of Israel. They're going to side, that's right. How do we know that? Well, quite simple. The Most High tells you right here in chapter 49, okay, of Jeremiah, that what's going to happen. Those left in the land, the Jewish women left, and maybe even some of the ones coming over there. He says, leave thy fatherless children, right? I will preserve them alive. So the children, he's going to preserve them alive. And let thy widows trust in me. Most I see that the widows who's left, because they're going to be widows after all, because it's going to be mostly the men who run back down into Edom, because the Most High is not going to judge the Zionists inside of the land of Israel. It's going to be the Edomite males running back down, okay? But the Jewish women, they're going to trust in Yah, as they should do, okay? So very complicated matters. Look at this video again. I'll keep giving you guys all kind of information as it comes to me. Thank you guys for listening. And for you Jewish women out there, trust in Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, YHWH, the God of Israel. Thank y'all for listening. Peace. Yah bless.